Hello, and welcome to the Mommy Escape Time podcast. I am Lauren, your host, and I have a 1-year-old son. I started this podcast for any mother who might feel alone in their journey through motherhood. Becoming a mom is hard no matter how you get there, and this podcast is about the mom stuff that comes up in our lives. Listen, enjoy, and connect with us on the Mommy Escape Time podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Mommy Escape Time podcast. I am Lauren, your host, and today I am joined with my cousin, I can say, Kate. Hi, Kate.
Hi, Lauren.
So Kate is joining us for a two-part episode all about Disney. Because if you don't know, I love Disney, and I try and come up with new spins. I try every October to do something about Disney because that's the anniversary of Disney World opening in Florida. But I didn't get it in time. So we have Kate to talk about what it was like to go to Disney with a toddler and what it was like to dine at Disney with a toddler. So this episode is going to be about what it was like to go to the parks with a toddler. So Kate, let's maybe start off talking about who is in your family.
Yes, so I have my husband and my 3-year-old daughter. And we just recently actually got a golden doodle puppy, but he did not accompany us to Disney.
I do know that they allow dogs, I think, at some resorts. But yes, I understand not bringing your dog.
So it was just my daughter and my husband and I who went on the trip.
And where did you guys end up staying?
So my husband is actually active duty military, so we stayed at the Shades of Green Resort, which is on the Disney property, but is owned by the Army.
Nice. That's
so
good.
It was very affordable, and it's within, I think it took maybe 5 minutes to walk to the Polynesian Resort, so we were able to take the monorail from there, which was great.
Oh, that is nice. It's like the benefits of staying on the monorail resorts, but not with that price.
Exactly.
So why did you decide, so how old is your daughter now?
So she was 3 years and 4 months when we went.
Okay. And why?
We just went in September.
Okay. And why did you decide to go, when she was 3? Was there an age that you were aiming for?
We wanted her to be old enough to really kind of be able to interact with the characters and whatnot, and we probably were going to wait another year or two, but then I was actually diagnosed with breast cancer last year, and one of the things that we decided to do was, when I was done with all my treatments and everything, that we were gonna go to Disney World. So we did a lot of the planning actually during my treatments, and it really helped to think about something fun and positive during that time. And that whole thing's a story for another time. But that was kind of why we decided to go now, and also why we really splurged with a lot of the big meals, which I guess we'll talk about next time. But that was kind of the reason that normally we're not a family that would kind of take on that kind of expense. But it was a splurge, I guess, for us.
Right. And I think you have to tell everyone that you're okay now, or yes.
Yes. Yes, I'm okay. And I'm hoping I'll never have a recurrence. But yes, I'm okay. Thank you.
I know that because she's my cousin, but everyone else out there might not know that. So
yeah.
And I think that's a good point. For Disney, sometimes you pick and choose what your splurges are, when you go.
Right.
Or if there are any splurges, and if you're just going basic, we're just lucky to go. So I think that's a good point too. So let's get into it. So we'll talk park by park and talk about what it was like and maybe what rides you tried with your daughter, and then maybe rides that you were avoiding. And I know we've talked before that you haven't really gone to any amusement parks with your daughter before, correct?
Correct. There's a little, we live in Delaware actually, and down at the boardwalk at the beach, there's tiny little rides that we tried to, we finally got her to ride the carousel without clinging to mommy, and the little cars that go around, really slow. And so we knew that we would not be attempting, the barnstormer or anything like that, since the carousel was a big feat. So,
But I think that's like a good point that you make, that you tried out at a maybe less expensive place first to kind of gauge where she was at before going, and not trying to be like, well, will she be able to do this or not do this?
yeah, it definitely helped with the planning, and it helped us just set our expectations so we weren't disappointed or wasting our time or, scarring her for life.
I know. Ironically, my husband and I were looking up how tall you have to be to like ride Splash Mountain and everything with our son, because we're going in the summer, and he's an exceptionally tall child for his age. And I don't think he'll make it this trip, but there's a big chance that he's going to make it for the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. And I honestly think my son would love it. We go to the amusement park all the time, and he just loves it. So yeah, but that's the good thing, that we have those options, that we do that first.
Exactly.
So, all right, so let's start with the Magic Kingdom. So how did you decide what fast passes before you went, that you were going to pick for her?
Yeah, so that was tough. We kind of just resolved ourselves that this was going to be a princess focused trip, for my daughter, which is, hilarious. If you had asked me 5 years ago if I would have a little girl obsessed with princesses, I would have said, no, no way, Jose, but here we are. So we kind of just embraced that. So we actually did 2 days at the Magic Kingdom, and so we did the Winnie the Pooh ride as a fast pass, because I know that that's popular, and I knew she would definitely enjoy that. And then we did meeting Ariel in her grotto,
Okay.
and then we did the Little Mermaid ride. And for both of those, there was no line, so they were kind of wasted fast passes. But you never know. So I wanted to make sure that we definitely could get on there. And then the second day, we did Pirates of the Caribbean, because that's one of my favorite rides. And we did the Enchanted Tales with Belle, and then I did meeting Cinderella and Rapunzel, because I knew she was going to want to meet Rapunzel, and that was a 10-minute wait, I think, so we kind of wasted that as well.
Yeah, it's hard to tell though, because you don't know. Like, did you ever wait for any rides when you were there? And
We,
how did your daughter do with that?
yeah, so the Peter Pan one was the ride that I wasn't sure if I should substitute that in for meeting one of the princesses. And I figured if we had to skip it, we could skip it. She's actually never even seen Peter Pan. She has seen some of the Tinkerbell movies.
Mm-hmm.
And we waited 30 minutes for that. That was the longest wait we had with my daughter. And she was fine. There's kind of different things to see in that line. They're pretty smart with taking you through, the children's nursery and all that while you're waiting in line for that. And she was okay. Other rides that we just went on without a fast pass, we went on the Jungle Cruise, and that was, I think, a 10 to 15 minute wait, and that, no problem. We did Small World, and there was no wait for that. Poor Small World. I don't think there ever is a wait for that ride.
I know, unless it's like super,
Uh,
super busy.
right. We also did the teacups, and there was no wait for that. She really enjoyed that. We obviously didn't spin it. We rode that twice, and one of the times we spun it just a little bit to show her that it could. And then we also met Tinkerbell, and she's right at the entrance of the park, right when you
Right.
walk in on Main Street on the right hand side is Tinkerbell inside there.
Was
Um,
so I'm sorry, I'm changing gears again.
no
So
problem.
when you were on Pirates, So I think of that as like a scarier, darker ride, and it has like a little drop in it. How did she do with
Yes.
that?
So um, we did Epcot before we did Magic Kingdom, and so she had
Okay.
already done the ride in Norway that has the big drop. And um, so I kind of knew how she was going to react. So I told her that it was going to be similar, and she was on my lap, and I turned her around towards me and said, "Just give mommy a big hug. We're just going to go through. There's a little storm for the pirates," and then we went down the little thing, and she was the cannon fire right after that. I
Hmm.
hope I'm not giving like
No.
Pirates of the Caribbean spoilers here. Sorry if if people have never been on the ride. Um, that made her a little uneasy, but with just a little cuddling, she was okay. And then after that, she enjoyed seeing, like the pirates dancing around, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But it took we prepped her for it. After it didn't go so when we get to Epcot, it didn't go so well in Norway because I did not prep her for that, and we have a great photo
Yes, you
to
do.
show for it. Um, but yeah,
Well,
so
that's
it wasn't
good.
wasn't too bad.
That's good. And then were there any rides that she was like, I want to do this again. I want to do this again, like trying to do the same ride over and over again at all?
Um, Not really. The teacups really was the only one that she said she wanted to do it again. And I don't know if it's because when we did arrive, we just kind of went on to the next thing. So I don't even know if she knew that she
She could.
could do it again. The reason why she wanted to ride the teacups twice, I think, was we actually did that in the evening, and I was going. My husband does not enjoy roller coasters, so I ran over. I saw that the wait at Space Mountain was only 15 minutes or something. So I ran over there, and he took her on the teacups while I rode Space Mountain. And then um, she asked to ride the teacups again with mommy when I came back.
Mm, yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
that's good then.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, so let's move on to Epcot. How did you pick I guess there isn't too much at Epcot like that she can do.
Right. It really made it easier just knowing, like, okay, we're not going to do any fast passes for the adult fun rides. At each of the parks, it did kind of take the agonizing decision of which ones are we going to pick out of it. So we did the boat ride in Norway,
Right.
um, the Frozen ride there. There was a Nemo show at the Seas,
Oh yeah.
and it turned out we really didn't need a fast pass for that. And then the only other one was I signed up for a fast pass for the land like plant garden tour,
Oh yeah.
which there's never a wait for that either. So that was another waste of fast pass. When I read about the turtle talk with Crush, it didn't sound very interesting to me, and so we did that because there wasn't much of a wait. But I understand that that's pretty popular as well, and it was really neat. My husband and I were so glad that we did it. It was really cute, um, and so if I had to do it again, I would probably not do a fast pass for the land plant boat tour, but instead do the turtle talk with Crush because that was cute.
Yeah.
And then we also met Anna and Elsa. Um, we waited a line for that, and I think it was maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And that was another kind of neat wait because they take you through, the house and everything. And it was all decorated with things from the movie. We also met Mary Poppins in England. Um, and we saw Daisy Duck at the front of where the countries are in like a little pavilion. And that was one of the cutest interactions that my daughter had with one of the characters because for whatever reason, Daisy took a lot of time like dancing with her, and it was just adorable to see her connect like with one of the characters. Like that, it was cute.
So your daughter wasn't then afraid of any of the characters.
No. Well, we did the Halloween party, which we'll probably chat about later. And all the villains are walking around then, and there were a few that she clung to us a little bit. But in general, no, she was very excited to interact with everybody. And we also, and we met Jasmine and Aladdin in Morocco.
Oh, nice.
And I think it was maybe like 10 minutes that we waited for that.
So then tell us how how did she react on the Frozen ride with that drop?
So it was a combination. So my daughter actually hasn't seen the entire movie of Frozen, even though she's seen that movie a gazillion times. I fast forward certain parts of it. So the part that was a little bit scary, there's like a little bit of a drop and that the boat goes down, a little waterfall, I guess.
Yeah.
And right before it, the big snow monster Marshmallow is huge and he looks scary. And she has seen that part of the movie and is okay with it in the movie, but I think just seeing him that big
Right.
really scared her. So she was already scared from seeing him, and then we went down the slide, and it was a little too much all at once. So she made a face and cried out and clung on to us for dear life.
I was just gonna say, in the picture it looks like she's clawing your husband almost.
Yeah, she is, and after that we took her on the land boat ride, and because I think she was ready to not do any more rides for the rest of the trip, and luckily that nice calm ride where nothing really happens, it's nice and flat, that
Right.
kind of let her know, like, okay, not all the rides are like that last one.
Well, and that's pretty good that she went on another boat ride so soon and was like okay. So that's good.
Right.
It's good. All right, so let's move on to Hollywood Studios. What did you end up doing there?
Okay, so there we went and saw the Beauty and the Beast show, which was very cute. That was another completely wasted fast pass because the seating there's just a ton of seating for that, and I can't imagine that it ever even fills up. But that was very cute. We enjoyed that. They had a Little Mermaid show,
Okay.
which was pretty cute. It kind of had like puppets almost, for the Little Mermaid, and then there was a Frozen sing along. So it was kind of live action with some actors, and then playing parts of the movie. That was neat. And then so those are our three fast pass selections.
Okay.
Um, my daughter's actually never seen Toy Story, so there's a whole section of that park that is devoted to Toy Story, and we just completely skipped it. So I'm probably in the minority there, but I can't really comment on how that section would go. I'm
Right.
sure there's stuff in there for tots. We did walk through the new Star Wars section, and parts of that were terrifying to her. So my husband and I are somewhat big Star Wars dweebs, so we were very excited to go through there, and we just didn't think through the fact that there would be, actual stormtroopers walking around and Kylo Ren marching around with, Empire troops and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, so even though
there,
you knew you weren't going to do the ride that was there, but you
yeah, just
wouldn't
walking
know
around
that
was
walking
right.
around would be scary for her.
Yeah, it was, and a couple of the stormtroopers walked right up to us, and she like climbed up over the back of my husband. She was so scared, and of course, the stormtrooper was like, in his monotone, said, "Remain calm," and so it was, everyone was laughing around us, and my poor daughter's, just terrified. So, be careful for that if you walk through there with your little one and they, haven't seen Star Wars or anything. That can be scary.
Yeah, because there's not really any other place where there's lots of characters like walking around like that.
Right, right. Yeah, or if they are, it's Mickey Mouse or
Right.
somebody you know
Friendly.
cuddly and friendly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Okay, so then let's move on to our last park, Animal Kingdom.
Okay, so there we did the safari, and my daughter absolutely loved that, and she still talks about that one. It was just neat for her to see all the animals really up close. And I don't know, I mean, just the magic of Disney, I guess. We were really close to a lot of animals, and it's kind of neat because you can't really see the fences and the dividers and everything, so it really
Right.
feels like they're just walking around. It doesn't have that zoo feel. It was neat. Um, the other one we did the riverboat ride in Pandora.
Mm-hmm.
There's also one, I think, where you can fly on, I forget what
A
those animals
banshee.
are. Yes. We did not do that one. We just did the riverboat ride because it said it was child friendly, and it definitely was. It was no drops or anything, and that was neat because we got to see, um, the neat blacklight lit forest and everything. And then we also saw a Nemo musical, and when my husband and I sat down and saw that I think it was an hour or something like that, we were really surprised. We thought it would be another one of these like 15, 20-minute shows. And we're like, oh, great, we're going to be in here for an hour. And it was super cute. I couldn't believe how well done it was. And I think part of the appeal was everything was operated by people, like puppeteers, basically. So
Mm-hmm.
even kind of the background would be someone in a neat little costume, like waving around these big, huge, intricate coral things. It, it was just really neat. So I highly recommend that if you're going to Animal Kingdom. Even if you think, oh, we already saw, the Epcot Nemo show. It's a lot different, and it's original music too. So
Mm-hmm.
it was good. And that's kind of all we did in Animal Kingdom. We left there early. We only did a half day there, and then we ended up going back to Epcot and walking around in Hollywood Studios and walking around.
Yeah. A lot of people say Animal Kingdom isn't really like a full day park. So,
Right.
and I've also heard it gets really, really hot there. Like it's hotter than all the other parks. I don't know if that's a fact or just people
Yeah,
think that.
it could be. It was hot everywhere when we
Yeah.
when we went in September, so it's hard to say. We did walk through. They have an area called Dino Land,
Mm-hmm.
and that was very cute. But they're really, I think they have a Triceratops spin, which is similar to,
Dumbo.
exactly. We did not do that, with it with my daughter.
Yeah.
But we walked through there, and she thought it was really neat. We saw Chip and Dale walking around dressed as dinosaurs, and that was cute.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That's cute. All right, well, let's talk just a little bit about the Halloween party. Now, if you listen to this whole thing and you didn't know what a fast pass is, I'll have a little link to a few of my not my Disney websites, but Disney websites that I follow that talk kind of about fast passes. But Disney basically gives you 3 skip the line fast passes a day for what you're staying there, and you get to pick different rides. And then the Halloween party that we're going to talk about now is like an extra ticketed event. So you pay separate than you don't have to have a theme park ticket for that day, but you have to pay separately for this ticketed event. And the hours are technically from 7 to midnight, but I know that you can get into the Magic Kingdom starting at 4 and use your ticket that way. So why don't you just tell us maybe what you did or what you liked or what you skipped or whatever you want to tell us about the Halloween party that you did.
Sure. So, um, well, right off the bat, I definitely messed up in my vacation planning because I did not really internalize the fact that we had an extra day at the parks with this, or, the evening was an extra day at the parks with this ticket to this party because we used another one of our eligibility days to go to the Magic Kingdom in the morning. And then we went back and kind of had lunch and took a nap at the hotel and then came back to the party. So if I had to do this over, and for everyone planning your vacation, you can have that be kind of a down day where maybe you hang out at the hotel or something that day and do the pool, or, maybe go to Universal in the morning or whatever. But I kind of burned a day at the park by combining those two. So that was kind of one of our lesson learned on our trip. So we went back to the park, I think around 5 o'clock, and we did dinner in Beast Castle, and we can talk about that more in the next meal episode. But that took maybe an hour, or maybe even a little bit more. And then that was when we did the Peter Pan ride. The lines were a little bit less in Fantasyland during the party, just because there seemed to be a little bit more of an older crowd. So, the bigger rides were a little more popular at that time. That was when also my husband and my daughter rode the teacups, and I ran over and did Space Mountain. They did a couple different shows. All the time there's shows throughout the day in front of the castle, but at night, they did a big Hocus Pocus Halloween villain show, and so we saw some of that. And then the parade was pretty neat. And
how did your daughter do with the show, the castle show, and then the parade?
Yeah, she was okay. I think it's because there were enough people around watching that, and enough little kids, and my husband was holding her basically the whole time, and it was quick enough. And they weren't, for the show, we were back a little ways. We were kind of around the circle part, if anyone's familiar with how it's set up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's back a little ways. It's not like we were right up front. And with a parade, we were kind of right up front in the circle in front of the castle, but we were kind of at a corner where the floats and the people didn't walk right in front of us. So there was a little, even though we could see really well, there was a little bit of a buffer, and I think that helped her with, okay, they're just walking past.
Right.
If she felt like they were walking up to her, it might have been different.
Yes.
They also had, you could, bring a little bag and go trick-or-treating different places and collect candy, and we just didn't do that for our daughter. So we kind of skipped that whole part of it.
Did she dress up at all?
Every day she was I brought, I guess you would call them tutus. They're kind of like poofy skirts, like little short poofy skirts. And so we had one outfit for her that was Elsa. So she just had the skirt and then a little headband crown that I bought on Etsy. And then for the Little Mermaid, she had a different little skirt and a headband that I had tied a seashell onto with a ribbon. So her headgear for that outfit. So each day she put that on over her clothes. And so I think she was Elsa during the Halloween party. But to all the parks, she wore one of those two ladies.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So do you think the Halloween party was worth it for you guys?
Okay, so probably not for Izzy. I don't think that it really wowed her. Maybe she will remember just seeing a parade at night, but it wasn't like, oh, you have to go do this. We did not take her on the Haunted Mansion ride. If we went back next year, we probably would, but we just didn't want to scare her and have her have, negative memories. So we missed a lot of that stuff. My husband and I thought that it was neat. I enjoyed seeing all the villains because you don't really ever see them walking around or anything. So that was kind of neat. Um, but just for a toddler to go, if you're not going to do the whole trick or treating candy thing, and probably not for
And did
her
you,
age as a 3 year
yeah,
old.
did you stay till midnight?
We did not.
Yeah.
We didn't even make it to the fireworks, actually. We were on the monorail driving away when the fireworks show started. We wanted to make it to that, and it was just too long a day. And again, maybe if I had planned differently and we had, really slept in that morning and done a nap, done a good nap, she didn't fall asleep that day.
Mm.
Um, we might have made it, might have been different, but it just didn't work out that way, and we didn't want to push it. So, in
Yeah.
hindsight, probably not worth it, but
Right.
we wanted to check it out. So,
Well, thank you very much for explaining all that to us. And we'll have another episode for you guys all about your dining coming up next week. So thank you, Kate, for coming on. And we'll talk to you all next week. Bye.